In this video, I'm going to be teaching how to cut and sew this kimono top with pockets and then a V neckline. So if you're interested in it, kindly watch till the end. I used the cotton fabric and then Ankara for this piece. So the first thing I did was to fold my fabric into 4. So this is the fabric I'm going to be using. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to determine the length of my blouse. So however long you want your blouse to be or top to be, you determine that and then mark. So this fabric, like I said, is folded into 4. As you can see, the upper part is on fold. So I'll be cutting both front and back together. First thing I'm going to be doing is to mark 4 inches from the center front in. And then I'll be going down by 10 inches. So if you want it short, you can actually make it 9, 8 or 7, but with this tutorials, I'm using 10 inches for the width of the length of the neckline. So after marking, I'll be marking 1/2 inch in. So this depends on the size of your V-neck. If you want it bigger, you're going to mark more than 1 inch, about 1 or 1/2 inch, determine on how big you want it to be. After that, just connect the points together like I've done. So this neckline is for the front. So I'm going to cut it out and then work on the back. Like I said, the fabric is folded into 4 and I'm cutting both front and back on it. That is, there will be no joining at the shoulder point. After cutting out the front, this is what I have. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to mark the back neckline as well and then cut. So with the back, at the upper part of the neckline, I'm going to be coming down by 1.5 inches. You can make it 2 inches. That is if your V-neck or your Ankara for the V-neck is thick, you can make it 2 inches. It will still fit. So after that, I'm going to be marking from that 4-inch point I used for the front to the center back and then cut out the neckline. So after cutting the neckline, this is what I have. I'm going to open it up for you to see how it actually look like. So I'm working on the neckline first before the body of the top or blouse. So this is how it looks like after opening it up. As you can see, that is the center line there. So that will determine or show you the division between the front and then the back. So I'm going to open it up at the neck or the shoulder area for you to see how it actually looks like. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is to use this Ankara fabric. I've fused it with hard interfacing because I didn't have medium, so you can use the medium. So the width is actually 6 inches. Then I folded it into 2. That makes it 3 inches on each side. And then the length, you have to measure the neckline before you get your neck. Make sure it is bigger than the neckline. So you can actually make this from 1.5 inches to about 2 inches, because I realized the 2.5 inches after stitching was very big. So if you want it this big, you can go ahead. So I folded it into 2 to get the center, and then I have the center for the neckline at the back as well. What I'm going to be doing is to pin them down together. So from the center of the neck at the back, I'm going to be pinning it down. So after pinning one side, I'll go ahead and then pin the other side as well, and then show you what we are going to be doing next. After pinning, this is what I have, and then the next thing you do is to stitch. But then before that, from that cut down, that cut line there, I'm going to be coming down by 1/2 inch on both sides. 1/2 inch on both sides. So that is where I'm going to be starting my stitch and then ending. So I'll start from that point, that 1/2 inch I marked down there, and then I'll be stitching through to the other 1/2 inch at the other side. So that is where I'm ending my stitch. After stitching, the next thing I'm going to be doing is to notch from that corner to the end of that 1/2 inch I marked. So you are going to start cutting from the corner there to the 1/2 inch I marked earlier. Make sure you don't exceed that line. After marking, next thing I'm going to be doing is to finish the neckline with knitting and then fold one side in. So I'm going to be folding this particular side in like this, and then the other part I'm going to be laying it on top this way, and then fold the raw or rough edges in and then stitch. So this is what I meant, just fold part of it in like this to hide the raw edges, making sure the fabric and then the neckline is lying flat before you stitch. So this way, and then you fold it in before you stitch. Like I said, make sure everything is lying down flat before you stitch. You can actually press it before stitching. After stitching, this is what it looks like. You can see the neckline has taken shape. So this is it for the neckline. The next thing I'll be doing is to cut the kimono top itself. So I'm going to be folding it back into 4 again, like I did earlier. So this is what I meant by folding it into 4. So after folding it into 4, I'm going to be marking or putting in my body measurement. First thing I'm going to be doing is to mark my shoulder divided by 2 from that point of the neckline in. So mine is 7. So I'm going to be marking the 7 inches down, and then I'll be adding extra 6 inches plus 1 inch for folding. So if you want it long, you can measure more than 6 inches. I want mine to be a bit shorter, so I marked 6 inches plus 1 inch for folding. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to mark my shoulder to bust measurement, which is 10 inches. So I'm marking the shoulder to bust measurement at this point, and then after that I'll be connecting the points together with my ruler. After marking, I'm going to be dividing my bust by 4. So whatever measurement your bust is, divide it by 4 and then mark it down. So I'm using 9 inches here. So after marking the 9 inches, I'm going to be adding extra 5 inches to the bust measurement. So whatever I've done for the bust line, I'm going to be repeating that same measurement on the hem or the lower part of the dress or top. So I'm going to be marking it down, making it a straight line like this. Then I'll be connecting that point down, and then the folding allowance down as well. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to mark 1 inch down from the bust line, and then I'll just connect it to that point. Yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. So next thing I'm going to be doing from here is to cut out. After cutting out, this is what I have, and let me fold it together so you see what I'm talking about. So this is what I have after cutting out. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to fix my pockets or insert my pockets on the blouse. So at the center of the front, I'm going to be going in by 3 inches on both sides. So I'm marking 3 inches on the right side. Then from the lower parts, I'm going to be going up by 4 inches. So I'm going to be repeating that same step at the other side. So this pocket is what I'm going to be using. And then the width and then the length depends on you. But the width of this is 9 inches and then the length is 11 inches. I'm going to be folding 1/2 inch in on both sides and then the lower parts. But then for the upper parts, I'm going to be folding 1 inch in and then 1 inch in again and then stitch that upper part. So after stitching, this is what I have. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to place it from that 4 inches I marked up and then the 3 inches I marked away from the center. I'm going to be placing it on and then repeat the same step at the other side. Next thing I'm going to be doing after stitching and placing them down is to pin them before I stitch. This is to prevent them from moving when I'm stitching. So just pin them down and then take it to your machine and stitch. This is the final look after stitching. So this is what I have. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to fold the lower parts in. I'm going to be folding 1 inch in. I added that 1 inch to the length of the blouse and then I'll be folding 1 inch in at the at the sleeve part as well. So just pin them together, take it to your machine and then stitch. After stitching, this is what I have. Then I have 2 types of V neckline on my channel, this inclusive. So whichever one you want to use for your neckline, you can check out the other tutorial on my channel. So with this, you can see after cutting everything, I didn't insert both in. This was overlay. I placed it on top of the other one and then I stitched. But then with this particular one I'm talking about, I have this on my channel. You can see everything was inserted into the hole. So whichever one you want to work with, you can check both out. I'm going to be adding the link in the description box so you can check that one out as well and then compare the two. Whichever works for you, you go ahead and then use it. So this is the end of the tutorials. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and share my videos, and then subscribe to my channel so that you get notified whenever I upload my videos. Bye.